So, we've been talking about gratitude lately.
Yeah.
You've shared some really interesting stuff with me,
I'm
actually.
good. I'm glad.
A podcast script we've been looking at, and then some thoughts on, the story of Job from the Bible.
Right.
And I think this whole idea of finding thankfulness, even when, things are just really hard, really tough in your life, is something we all kind of struggle with.
Absolutely.
So I guess, if you're in a tough spot right now,
Right.
maybe this deep dive will resonate, or even if you're not, maybe it's just good to be prepared
Yeah.
for those moments when things inevitably get difficult.
Yeah, because they do.
So let's unpack this whole gratitude thing, especially
Right.
in the face of, hardship and pain and all those things.
I think what's fascinating is that, from the very beginning,
Yeah.
the human experience has really been marked by struggle.
Right.
I mean, it's just kind of a universal truth.
Yeah.
But alongside that, there's always been this, capacity for resilience,
That's true.
for meaning making, even in the midst of suffering.
Yeah. And the podcast script that we're looking at,
Right.
it doesn't shy away from that at all.
No, it doesn't.
It actually acknowledges, that pain is just a part of life.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to happen.
It is.
But it really suggests that gratitude can be a powerful tool to cope.
Oh, absolutely.
And it's not about pretending things are okay.
No.
It's more about shifting our focus, I think.
Exactly. It's about, it's a state of appreciation for what one has.
Yeah.
It's about, fostering a focus on the positive, even when you're faced with, some pretty tough stuff.
Right.
And I think Job's story really kind of exemplifies this beautifully, wouldn't you say?
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
And speaking of Job,
Yes.
we were talking about in the outline how he lost everything.
He did.
But I think to really appreciate his story, we have to go a little deeper.
I agree.
I mean, it wasn't just about losing, his possessions or his wealth.
Right.
I mean, his children were killed. He was struck with these, agonizing boils all over his body.
Yeah. Unimaginable suffering.
I mean, to talk about hitting rock bottom.
Absolutely.
And yet, through it all, he maintained his faith.
He did. He still recognized.
He recognized the blessings that remained.
That's just incredible.
Yes.
So I guess it's not just about, feeling thankful. It's about actively searching for those things.
Yeah.
Those little glimmers of good.
Of glimmers.
Even in the darkest moments.
I think that's exactly right.
Wow.
And what's really remarkable is this isn't just some feel-good philosophy.
Right.
There's actual science that backs this up.
Real.
For example, there was a study on the effects of gratitude on stress levels
Okay.
in cancer patients.
Wow.
And they found that those who regularly practice gratitude
Okay.
experienced a significant reduction in stress hormones
Oh, wow.
compared to those who didn't.
So it really does have a physiological impact.
It does.
That's incredible.
It's powerful stuff. So how do we actually make this a part of our lives, though?
Well,
The podcast script has some practical advice, right?
it does. It does.
Like what?
Well, it suggests things like gratitude journaling.
Okay.
Where you just, take a few minutes each day and you write down, things that you're thankful for.
Okay.
And it can be even seemingly small things.
Right.
It could be the warmth of the sun,
Sure.
a delicious meal, a kind word from a stranger.
It's about noticing those little things.
It is.
Yeah.
It's about training our minds to see those anchors of gratitude
Yes.
in our everyday experience.
Yeah.
The podcast also talks about mindfulness meditation,
Okay.
which can be really helpful
Yeah.
to just appreciate the present moment without judgment, really savoring the good,
Good.
accepting the difficult
Yeah.
with a sense of awareness.
Yeah.
And then there's the idea of helping others,
All right.
which I think is so powerful.
Yeah.
Because it gets us out of our own heads.
Totally.
And it allows us to focus on the needs of others.
Yeah.
And it can be a really profound way to cultivate gratitude.
I like that
Yeah.
because it reminds us of the good that we can bring into the world.
Absolutely.
It's interesting. We keep coming back to Job.
We do.
This guy went through hell and back
He did.
and still found a way to praise.
It's remarkable.
That level of faith is something else.
It is.
It raises a lot of questions, though, doesn't it?
It does.
Especially for people who, believe in a just God.
Right.
Like, why?
Why would a good God allow suffering?
Right. How can we be grateful when,
When life feels so unfair.
Yeah, exactly.
It's a really tough question.
But I guess, if we look at Job through the lens of faith, it becomes less about understanding, why we suffer
Right.
and more about trusting.
trusting that there's a larger purpose at play.
Right, that we may not even, see or understand.
Exactly, and the script touches on this too.
Yeah.
It does, for those who are religious, gratitude becomes a form of worship.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, it's about aligning yourself with the higher power no matter what your circumstances are.
Okay, so how do we apply all this to our own lives?
Well, I think it's about making gratitude an active practice.
Okay.
A habit.
Right.
The more we seek out moments of gratitude, big or small, the more readily we'll find them.
Right.
It's like building a muscle.
Okay.
The more you use it, the stronger it becomes.
I like that analogy. Now, the script focus mainly on, personal gratitude.
Right.
But I'm curious.
Yeah.
What about finding things to be thankful for on a larger scale?
Oh, that's interesting.
Even when the world feels kind of crazy and chaotic, are there things we can be grateful for on a societal level? How might that shift our perspective?
That's a really intriguing question.
Yeah.
I mean, if cultivating personal gratitude can change our inner world, perhaps extending that outward could influence how we see the world around us.
Yeah.
Maybe it's about appreciating the resilience of communities, the tireless work of those who, dedicate their lives to helping others, or even the simple beauty of nature that surrounds us.
And on that note, we'll leave you with that thought to ponder.
Okay.
How can we expand our circle of gratitude to encompass not just, our personal lives, but the world at large?
That's a great question.
There's so much to explore here.
There is.
Thanks for joining us on this deep dive into the power of gratitude.
Thank you.
We'll see you next time.
Sounds good.